Hi everyone, and today we're going to talk about the gift of the mediator and how to bring more mediation into your own life, into your own relationships, even into your work or purpose. So I took out this card from Caroline Myss's archetypal card, and it's not one of the cards that I usually talk about. But if we look at the mediator, it's really it has a lot of wisdom in it, and a lot of reminders for us in our own life, and the way that even we think and how we see the world and how we see things in our own life and in relationships, and actually in the collective. So it's very appropriate at the moment. Now, other than taking this card out, I'm also picked an oil today, and I'm going to explain this. So I'm going to try and keep it short, the session short, but it's really interesting what oil come up for this, and in many ways what I feel this oil represents. So I'm going to read a little bit about the mediator and talk about how it can show up in our own situations and even ways that we maybe don't think about. So the mediator in the light attributes is a gift for negotiating fairness and strategy in a personal and professional life. It's respect for both sides of an argument, right? Now, if you think about when anyone goes for mediation, like if you think about during a divorce or relationship difficulties or even something else that's legal, the mediator is there to help both sides see the other views from a harmonious and balanced place, and in many ways to try and take the emotion out, and also help both sides see hidden things that maybe both don't see. Because I've got a friend, and her mum used to always say, when people think they're speaking the truth, there's that person's truth, and there's somewhere in the middle that sometimes it's how we see things, sometimes we don't know, and often the truth is about like that. But also life is that we've got to understand that we look at our own life, we see things a certain way just because of our life experience and even our life preferences. So if you think about, even when we're talking about archetypes, even the mediator, we all tend to be attracted to certain types of personalities and traits and certain things. And there's certain things that trigger us and we move away from. And that can for all sorts of reasons. And sometimes it's not the reasons that we think. It's to do with unconscious programming or trauma, or someone represents, or something represents something that's happened to us in the past, and we associate it in an unconscious way with that experience. So that's why, there is so many things in our reality that sometimes we do not see in a balanced perspective, and sometimes we're not even willing to see. We're so strong in our opinion and so reactive. And when we are strong in opinion, that's coming from an emotional place. It's not always coming from the heart and the soul. And even when you're trying to prove that you're right in a situation, that's coming from the ego. It's not coming from the heart and soul. And there's difference proving that you're right, or giving maybe evidence, or giving your opinion why you believe a certain thing. That's completely different. Now, the shadow aspect of the mediator is negotiating or doing things with an ulterior motive, right? Or hidden agenda, that there's something else under the table, or there is something else, that your motives are not pure, your intentions are not clear, or your intentions at that point are not for the highest good, right? And that can be either personally or professionally. So if someone goes in and they're supposed to be a mediator, but they have their own agenda and they want a specific outcome, they're not a very good mediator, because what they're doing is, and even if it's, if it's the best thing for everyone concerned, right? But if you go in with your agenda, what you want on the table, or, you have other reasons that it's to do with your ego, well, again, you're not coming from the heart and soul, and it's not aligned. It's not aligned with your soul, and it's not always serving the greater good, right? Now, when we look at, for example, a business, sometimes it's very difficult to be the mediator in our own business and our own relationships, because we can see the other side. We're only seeing things from our perspective. And sometimes, I know this myself, that sometimes I'm so close to a situation in my business that I can't see the wood for the trees, right? And sometimes it's someone else with a more balanced perspective that is willing to listen and is willing to be a mediator, be that support, but be that kind of like, if you think about the scales, they're able to balance the scales and stay grounded and centered and neutral with compassion and love and empathy. That can often hold a space and help you see the other side. And for example, a really good coach, when they're able to do that in a certain space and help you see the other aspect of a situation and see things from a different perspective, can help shift. The problem is if that coach comes in with their ulterior motives, just like a healer or therapist, if they come in with their own motives, for example, if they're just there trying to prove that they're the best, or prove that their techniques are the best, or they're trying to prove something for themselves because of their own insecurity or their own ego, or they're trying to get something else out of that situation, it's not, it doesn't have that balance. So we've all had experiences where we've went into situations and we've come out of the situation where we're getting help, or we're trying to get some help or guidance and someone with a balanced perspective, and we end up kind of feeling as if we're more confused or more disempowered. I know for me, one of the reasons that I, started moving towards helping many years ago a lot of holistic and spiritual business owners with the more with business like coaching and things and mentoring, was I had seen so many things, and I had quite a lot of experiences myself. I had been helping people with their marketing and their websites, and that I'd been saying things, but I'd also faced a lot of difficulties in relation to business coaching. I saw most coaches using really old, outdated approaches, masculine approaches, and even some who thought they were using very feminine approaches. I found some of it very extreme, not intuitive, very controlling, or very like, well, this is what you do, this is the next step, in a way that didn't feel right for me. And it's one of the reasons why I also put myself more as a mentor. I was a teacher, so there's a bit of an element in that, So I know that sounds maybe a bit ironic, but one of the things that I found was a lot of things that I would get advised to do, they were saying it was maybe more spiritual or soul aligned. And this was before these things happened, or they were heart-led, and it didn't feel right. It did not feel aligned, or they were telling me to go on certain platforms and do certain things that completely went against everything that my core values went for. And I also found, as someone very highly empathic and very intuitive, I noticed subtle patterns, and I noticed energy, even about the coach or the healer or whatever, that they didn't notice. But I noticed things I didn't intend to prior anything. It was just because that's the way I function. I tend to notice a lot of things. And I found that a lot of it was not subtle enough for me, but also I felt it was not balanced enough for me. I didn't feel supported in many situations. And one of the challenges that we can have at the moment, because there is so much going on in the collective, there is so much going on in the world, and there's so much conflict in opinions, and also as we get maybe stronger in opinions, or maybe we're changing or evolving in what we see. And, you know, part of the awakening of consciousness is the layers of illusion are coming off the world. And we just need to see that was 6 years ago. And I've always been someone that tends to kind of sometimes sense things that are going to happen, see things that sometimes people don't notice. It's just because I'm so energetically sensitive, which came at a peril as well. But one of the things that is like noticing things that I always kind of think, how do other people not notice that? And, you know, in everyday situations, people can maybe just make a comment, and then I kind of tell them, well, I think this is going to happen. And they kind of go, oh, and then things happen. And it just comes from a sense of knowing. But that aspect of aspects, I wouldn't, you know, there's lots of things I don't tell my clients. I wouldn't bring that in because that's opinion. This is mostly to friends, and I can say that and they don't mind that. But I also recognise that sometimes it is that balance that we can have opinions or ideas and see the world and see what's going on very different from lots of people. And I remember over 6 years ago, just before the COVID, I could see there was lots of things going to happen. You could almost see the shifts and the changes, and I had strong opinions that certain things that was very different from other people. But I also knew in certain situations it was not my place. It was hard. There were some situations it was appropriate to voice my opinion, but there was also other situations where it was almost being a bit of the peacekeeper in relation to allowing people to share their opinions, share things from their perspective, and as long as they come with the same level of respect and balance and able to listen to you and listen and have that same openness and ability to listen and see the different perspective, you have naturally that mediator energy. But the problem is when people are in fear, when people are in anxiety, when people have got very strong opinions and are very also caught up in their own identity, and even the identity of how they see the world, or they see certain countries or certain people or certain things or certain subjects or situations. These are all related to our identity. And even though I love working with archetypes because it helps you kind of look at archetypal traits that we all fall into in patterns, and we all have them, and they all shape the way we show up in life. Also, I know as somebody that's taught meditation for nearly 25 years now and meditated for over 30 years, nearly even more than that. But one of the things that I know that when you get into stillness, when you get into a sense of peace, and when you're into that state of beingness and deep, deep stillness and deep meditation, you're naturally the mediator. You're naturally at that point, because thoughts can come and go and you are detached from a specific outcome. And when we are trying to be a mediator between other people, and even be a mediator between ourselves and our thoughts, we need that gap. We need that stillness and peace. And when there's conflict, when there's anger, when there's frustration, when there's even strong opinions, we move out of that ability to mediate. So I think that's a really, it's been a useful card to come out. Now, interesting, I decided to choose an oil, and I also choose a card with it. And I'm going to show you these cards. They're beautiful cards. I've not the boxes over there, but these are essences cards. I can't remember what they're called, but they're Janine Thorpe. If you look up Janine, I don't know if it's .com Janine is, but Janine has a beautiful gift, and she is a fellow empath with extraordinary gifts and the way she senses energy and the way that she works with energy. And she's created these beautiful cards. She's got different ranges, but friends of mine gifted them. I've worked with Janine on many occasions, but a friend had bought me them. And the oil that I've chosen and I picked today, and it was interesting. This oil was an oil that I've started a course again that Janine's been doing, and her and another woman, Liz. And it was really interesting. Before I went on to the first call of this course, I had been using lemon and had went on to order some lemon and got the it was interesting. As soon as it was the first oil that was coming in when I went on the course. And lemon is very detoxifying. It's, we know that lemon, it's got that citrusy, fresh, kind of very clean aspect, and it can clean the body, help detoxify the body, but can help us detoxify. It was interesting because Liz was talking about how it detoxifies in an energetic way, the receptors in the body. And one of the ways that they use oils is to shift energy, and it's really worth signing up for some of their courses. But I'm going to read out the words that go with lemon, okay? But just before that, I'm actually just going to bring some lemon energy into the situation at the moment. And really help hold space for this detoxifying energy. And if you can just if you have any lemon essential oil, pause this video and go and get some of your lemon oil and smell it and really feel the freshness. And this particular brand, there's a real sweetness to the lemon. So even though it's fresh, there's a sweetness, and it's almost like an energizing element of newness, freshness, and optimism. So if you think about, the lemon moving through your body, right? The lemon moving through situations, the lemon moving through your life, even through the world, that freshness and that ability to detoxify what is not true, and to detoxify any beliefs that we have that may not be clear, that might not be exactly neutral, right? To detoxify opinions that may be coming not from the right place, to detoxify our fears, to detoxify our anxieties, anything that we're bringing into the situation, whatever it applies to you. And that could be your business, it could be relationships, communication, work. And I'm just going to say the words of the card, and I'm going to thank Janine for these beautiful cards. And pop over to Janine's YouTube channel and and see some of her work. But I allow the light of lemon to support me to let go, and to allow sunshine, joy, and light to fill my body and my energy. I allow it to nourish and sustain me as I grow in clarity, confidence, and sureness. And, just allow the energy of lemon just to help shift anything that doesn't serve us anymore. Help us let go of anything that is not of positivity, that's truth, that is not clear. And remember that, one of the things I think it's always important is that we all have our own truth. But that doesn't mean that it is someone else's truth or it's someone else's perspective. That the light of lemon supports us to let go of even expectations, because sometimes when other people don't have the same opinions as us, that we can struggle with that. So it's about letting go, and because that's all about controlling people. And if you're trying to control people, that's the ego, and that's often your own wounding. So allow the sunshine, the joy, and the light to fill your body and energize and allow it to nourish and sustain you as you grow in clarity, confidence, and sureness. I'm going to leave it there. I hope you enjoyed this session. If you're interested in learning more about some of my work, I have a variety of videos. I also have I'm moving a lot of my work. I actually own Stress Coach Training and Spiritual Marketing Club, but one of the things that I've wanted for the last few years is to really start moving more of my work into, I've got my website, eileenburns.co.uk, and that's now under the it's Empowered Empath. And it's all about helping, more healers and people that are highly empathic, being highly empathic myself and highly sensitive. I know the challenges that empaths have, and empaths are often big feelers, often very psychically intuitive in way and can see things. They're the visionaries, the clairvoyants, the psychics, the intuitives, and they're sometimes misunderstood, and they tend to be often ahead of the time, ahead of the curve, because they can see things. So I'm a bit of what you would call a visionary in the way that I look at things, and I tend to attract a lot of people around about me in my work that are similar, and some of my friends. So if you would like to check out some of some meditations, different videos and different things, I've also had a podcast, and what we've done it mostly with Caroline. It was Caroline Tobin, and that's on the Wounded Healer, which I think you'll find interesting if you are a healer. Thank you for watching. If you found anything in this video helpful, I would love if you could like, comment, subscribe, or share. Any engagement is appreciated, because like a lot of more intuitives, I've had a lot of shadow banning over the last few years, so it's really, really important for me to get my work out to be visible. Have a wonderful day. Bye for now.